Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today we're going to be doing a video that has been a long time coming from my little brain. We're going to talk about some of my favorite books and book series that people are sleeping on and that need to be read more. Because looking at the ratings and like the amount of ratings on some of these books it hurts my heart because more people need to be reading these books. So if you like these type of videos, make sure that you stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave, ring the bell, comment down below, and let me know what your favorite underrated book series is. And we're just gonna jump into it. So the first book series that we're gonna talk about, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about these because these two books have been in my top 20 favorite videos or favorites of the, that video where I talk about my favorite books of the year, and my top 2021 favorites of the year too. So you should know, maybe you know. But anyways, this book series is called the Fated Heart series by Lucia Almanovi. So this is the first one, Winds of Fate. This is the second one, Hands of Fate. And these are both historical romances set in, I believe, 1730s, and these are two stories of people, like you'll see this couple in this book, but this is a book series where people are coming over to a new land and they are having to establish that land, but before they get there they have to go through some really hard times, and the women are forced to choose a husband before they can travel and consummate the marriage before they can travel. And here, this couple, they choose each other and they stay with each other. In this book, the woman's husband dies on the way over. So you see this couple in this book. These two books are freaking beautiful. Like, they are so beautiful. And all my historical romance lovers out there, you need to read these books because they are amazing. I read both of these books 5 stars. Straight up. Lucia Almanovi is one of the sweetest people I've ever met in my life. I haven't physically met her, but I've talked to her, and she is literally the sweetest. And she also has some books coming, like she's in the process of writing some more books, and you already know I'm going to be reading those books. But these books are just so pretty. And this story is about Leah and Andrew, and they go to this new land, and this new land is supposed to be like up and coming, but when they get there, it's not what they're promised. And Andrew sticks his neck out and he builds them a house, and he takes care of Leah, and he is just there for her and protects her, and their story is just so pretty. And then we get into this book, and this book is about Aaliyah and Nino. Nino is the sheriff of this newfound land, and Aaliyah is husbandless. And since she is husbandless, when she gets there, she sort of has like the freedom to do what she wants to do because she doesn't have a husband. Her husband died on the way over, so she's kind of free to do what she wants. This is also a second chance romance, and Nino is like the sweetest thing ever. Andrew, don't get me wrong, he is a woo character. Like, he is great, but Nino just had my heart, like, from the beginning. You see Nino in this book as well, and he's very sweet, he's very protective, and him and Aaliyah get a second chance romance. And I typically don't really like second chance romances, but in this book, I ate it up. I'm gonna clap a little bit because I ate it up. I'm not in rhythm whatsoever, but that doesn't matter because you need to read these books anyways. Like, pick them up, read them, and you're supporting an indie author, so that's what I'm talking about. Switching lanes here. Ooh, did you see that? That was okay. That was good. All right, so we're switching lanes here. We're gonna talk about a little bit of a horror, fantasy, folky kind of story. These were also in my top 2020 and 2021 favorites of the year. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to go watch those videos. I'll link them. They should already be linked. You should already clicked on them. But anyways, if you're back, here we go. We're talking about The Chaos Cycle by A.J. Verona. So this is the first book in this series. It's called The Hollow Gods, and we are following Maya and Kai. Maya is She lives in a town called the Black Hollow, and for centuries there has been a folklore that has gone around where, and it has come true, but there is like a curse on this town, and every several years for centuries a girl has gone missing. She's gone back home and then she's been killed, and her family, her dad typically is the one that kills her, and Maya is caught in this like craziness of this town. She also has very vivid dreams. And then you bring in Kai. Kai is the one that finds the lifeless body of the person who has gone missing now, and he's covered in blood, doesn't really remember what happened. So Maya and Kai meet and they go on this adventure. We find out so much things about the town itself, which I really enjoyed. AJ Verona does a really good job of bringing in that horror aspect, plus also bringing in some history aspects, and it's really easy to follow, especially for somebody like me who doesn't really typically like fantasy because of the world building. But in here, it is just so easily handed to you that it is enjoyable to read. I ate this book up, y'all. I ate this book up. It is obviously 5 stars. I love this book. If you have not read this book yet, you really need to. My friend Nicole, hey Nicole, she ended up reading this book and she texted me the other day and she's like, I just finished The Hollow Gods and girl, I want the second book. So guess what she's going to be getting soon? The second book. And the second book is called The Echoed Realm. And in this book, we are still following Maya and Kai, and they are going on this adventure. They're trying to figure out their destiny. They're trying to figure out their past lives. They're trying to figure out what happened to them to make them into the people that they are. The first book, you find out something about the Dreamwalker, and they're just trying to navigate through their lives after the first book, and they end up in Louisiana. So we are going down south, and it's really interesting. Like, you meet so many other characters. Some of the characters you're gonna hate, some of the characters you're gonna love. We see a returning character in this one, and in this story, Maya and Kai are like the main focus. But in this story, Maya and Kai have to navigate things apart because there's a specific danger that's going on that makes them like split up, and they're not used to that. But it's really cool to see how they navigate through those difficulties of being apart for so long, and how they come back together at the end, because obviously if you haven't caught on, Maya and Kai are kind of like a thing, you know. But it, like, this series, even though it's really dark, I'm not saying that it's light, because this series is dark and there's a lot of different trigger warnings that you need to know going into this, so you need to research the trigger warnings. But obviously murder is one. You have a lot of different mental illnesses going on, and a lot of different identity issues that are going on, and there's a lot of different diverse characters in these 2 books as well, which is why I really love them, because you know I love diverse reads. But it is just like, y'all, pick them up. This was my journey into like horror / fantasy, you know. I really love this book, like these 2 books. You need to pick them up. The next series is called the Pennywrite Series, and this is by A.N. Willis, and I read these on Kindle. You can also find them on, like, yeah, I read them on Kindle, but you can also buy them if you want to. But there are 3 books in this series, and I'm going to put them right here for you. The first book is called Devil's Night. The second book is Angel Eyes, and the third book is Demon House. In each of these books, you are following Pennywrite as she navigates her way through her being a medium and her being able to help specific spirits move on. In the first book, Devil's Night, we are following her as she kind of like comes into her powers, and there is a specific, it's like a festival concert thing that the company that she works for is putting on in her hometown, and her hometown is very much haunted. There are a lot of things going on. Penny is one of the only ones that can actually like see the spirits, and some of them are good, some of them are not so good, and they run across a not so good spirit during the Devil's Night festival, there you go. And it's just like, you see her grow into herself, you see her still not really wanting to have the ability that she has, but she just has to get over it because she's helping people along the way. The next one is called Angel Eyes, and we're in a house called the January house, and she is also helping she's also helping another spirit pass on. This one gets a little bit weird. This one I only gave 3 stars in the series. It really wasn't like Devil's Night, 5 stars all the way. But this Angel Eyes, it really wasn't my favorite, but I like the way it ended, so I decided to pick up the next one, which I'm so glad I did because that was my favorite one in the whole series. It's called Demon House, and title says it all. Go into it. If you can't stomach like really heavy things, I wouldn't recommend this series to you because it's pretty heavy. But if you're one of those that's like me, that likes paranormal, that likes dark, that likes horror, that likes some humor, because Penny is very funny, and that is a little bit of romance sprinkled into, I highly recommend this series. I think you really need to pick it up because it's really, really good. The first book in the series only has 400 ratings. The second book only has 300, and the last book only has 100. Y'all, read this series. It's so good. Like, if you haven't picked it up yet, you probably haven't even heard of it yet because obviously the ratings. But you need to get this. This is also another indie writer who needs recognition. There's a lot of diversity in her books, and I think that you would really freaking like it. So pick it up. All right, so the next books I'm going to talk about is the Frost series. This is by Jackson Ford, and you have the first book. You have seen me talk about this one too. It's called the Girl Who Can Move with Her Mind. That's the first one. Let me get them in order. Second one, Random Flying Through the Air. The third one, The Eye of the Storm, and then the second one is called A Load of Powers, I believe. Of Crazy Powers. That one comes out in May, so next month. And yes, I'm going to pick it up. But these are fantasy sci-fi. Put them in order. Oh, please. There we go. These are fantasy sci-fi. You are following Tegan Frost and her government group of multiple ability people. Tegan is telekinesis, which means she can do things with her mind, and that's how she helps the group out. This is like a secret government group that she's working with. The first book, we're following her, and she meets somebody else that has telekinesis who is stronger than her, but is causing a lot of havoc, so she's having to go against him. Second book, she's going against a 4-year-old who is crazy. Sorry to call a 4-year-old crazy, but he's got a lot of things going on up here. And yep, he can make earthquakes and completely like demolish everything. He demolishes all of Los Angeles, and yeah, so that was fun to read about. Well, I don't know. I haven't read this one yet. I'll just give you the backside. It says that Tegan Frost has all but given up on her dream of becoming a chef. Like, she's really wanted to be a chef, but this government group that she's in is not really allowed to because they want her for her telekinesis powers. And she's trapped in her current job using her psychokinetic powers to help the government catch the bad guys of Los Angeles, if I can speak. But when she finds a boy with the power of electricity, so we have electricity, power to electrify anything he comes across, Tegan makes a fateful decision to go rogue. So she's gone away from her team. As her team searches for her, Tegan must help the boy get down the LA River safely. The problem is that not only is her team trying to track her down, a gang of outlaw bikers wants her dead as well. The National Guard are on her trail. A mysterious assailant with powers similar to her own is on the hunt for Tegan and the boys. So this sounds like this. It sounds crazy. That's what these books are. They're just like super outlandish, but they are full of humor. Tegan, I want to be your friend. Yes, I want to be friends with a fictional character, but they are just like outlandish, full of adventure, full of humor, full of sarcastic humor. I think that's one reason why I really like this series so much. But if you haven't checked these out, you really need to, because they are fun. They are so much fun, and you get through them so quickly. They're chunky. They're chunky, but there's so much stuff going on. And Tegan is just like I said, she could be my BFF. I want to be her BFF. And it's just fun. Like, it's just fun. So, but these books, like, honestly, all jokes aside, these books are super fun, and I highly recommend them to any of my sci-fi people. If you are just trying to, oh, these are upside down. If you are just trying to get into sci-fi and you don't know where to start, I would check these books out because they are so fun and they are funny, and they're just, even though there's a lot of like dark humor in it, they are easy enough to get into so you understand what's going on. So there we have that. Then the last books in this video are the ones who have been on my shelf for a really long time, and they have the highest ratings because they were published a little bit a while ago. But these are for my romance lovers of the who like steam and who like to read about steamy scenes that are very graphic. And that you get the whole, like, you understand what I'm saying. Like, this is not for my people who are just getting into romance, or my people who don't like to read about steamy scenes, because I mean, it's in here. So this is called the Twin Estate series, and you've heard me talk about these books too, but these are by Stylo Fatomi. The first book is Neighbors, the second book is Neighborhood, the third book is Neighborhood Watch, and the fourth book is Block Party. So in the first two books, you are following Katya and Wulfric and Liam. Like, they are a trio. This has a love triangle in both. And the first book, you have a love triangle. You also have enemies to lovers, but the love triangle is very open. They know about each other for the most part, and they are just navigating their relationship. The next one is Katya figuring out who she really wants to be with, and just trying to, like, you know, trying to navigate the whole relationship thing. There's some things that happen in the first book that are messy, but it's a messy that's enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I typically don't like love triangles because of the messiness, but because they have some sort of knowledge about each other, I mean, they're grown adults, they can do what they want. So these books were highly enjoyable. I gave the first one 4.5 stars, and I gave the second one 4.5 stars as well. I thought that this one right here was a super hot start, and I went immediately into the second one. The second one's a lot messier than the first one, by the way. Alright, and then the last two books, we have Block Party, and then we also have Neighborhood Watch. But Block Party is about Liam and what he's going through. And we also figure out that he has a twin brother named Landon, and Landon is the last book. We, like, straight up enemies to lovers. You are going to fall in love with Liam in this book. You're also going to, like, despise Landon in Block Party, but then still despise him in this book, but then kind of like fall in love with him all at the same time, which, okay, you're gonna do that because that's what I did. Maybe you might not like Landon, but Landon is one of those characters that you really don't like at first, but as you get to know him and as you understand why he is the way he is, you like, it's like a hate to love type of thing, you know? Hence, it's enemies to lovers. So we're just like falling in love with these characters, asking ourselves, why are you doing these things? There are really no arguments that break up their relationships in this series, which is, well, these two books, yeah. It's kind of like tropey like that, but for good reason. Like, if this would have happened to me too, I don't know if there would have been a second book. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it's messy, y'all. This series is messy, but it is worth it. This is one of the series that I always go back to when I'm in a reading slump, because I know I'm going to jump right back into this, and I know that I'm going to continue to love them. I have given these books 4.5 stars to 5 stars every single time that I read them. The only book that went down after I read it the second time was Block Party. But that was just like a life thing going on. I think if I would have read them again, I would have like my rating would have bumped up, because right now I'm in love with Liam again, and yeah, it's that. So y'all, those are the book series that I find that are underrated, that people are sleeping on, and that they really need to read. I hope that you picked them up. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below again what your favorite underrated book series is. Maybe I'll pick it up. Is there fantasy, like sci-fi, horror that you haven't heard me mention before? Is there a new romance series that you want me to pick up? It could be anything that you think that I would enjoy. By now, you probably know what I like. If you don't know what I like, just go watch all my other videos. You'll figure it out. But that is the end of this video today. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.